Carly O'Brien, life member, welcome to celebrating 100 years at the Trinners.
Thanks for having me.
What initially drew you to the Trinners, and what's kept you involved with the club over all these years?
I think initially it was the fact that every Saturday I became a cricket widow because Matt was here playing cricket, and I think I probably wanted to spend a bit more time with him on weekends, and it was such a big part of his life. So I came down and started sort of getting involved and just helping at functions and things, and then joined the committee. They needed a bit of help with some events and things like that, and that was a role I was doing for work at the time. So that's sort of how I got involved, and then I think it's once they kind of suck you in, you really you never leave. It's like Hotel California.
And what well, no one would ever want to leave the Trinners.
No.
Such a great place, right? So what can you share, any sort of particular special moments or memorable moments you've experienced while being part of the club?
I think probably the first women's game that we had, I think, was really special. Just being able to get that team on the park and having the support that we had from the club. And then obviously winning that first grand final was incredible. It's still one of my favourite days ever. It was just so unexpected, and we just all played so well, and I think it was an epic celebration afterwards. And I think probably what was really special about it was that the men's first 11 had actually lost, unfortunately, to Laylaw in the semi, and they could have been miserable and upset, and it was the complete opposite. They came in and celebrated with us straight away, and I remember I think it was Nick Christie from Laylaw saying, like, that's really incredible that that was happening at our club at that time, and all the men just like put their loss aside and came inside and celebrated with us. And then probably the next closest one would be watching the men win the A-grade flag last year. So much hard work and dedication for so many people over so many years, you know, suffering through the years of batting collapses after batting collapse. And it was just for people like, you know, Sam and Kerry and myself and Kev, who'd been supporting, you know, our partners or sons in that team, to finally see that win come off. And it was such a close game. You can hear me in the commentary like I'm about to vomit in the side because I was so nervous, but it was just, that was really incredible. And I feel like years ago that would have been an isolated celebration where it would have been really just the ones kind of celebrating, and I feel like it was for the whole club. And the celebration afterwards was really inclusive and was really wholesome, and I think it's probably, it's up there as one of my favourite moments.
Talk us through that last over of that game.
I remember my stomach being in my throat, and I think Timmy Diamond was actually holding me up at one point because I was like, I couldn't even watch. I was kind of like keeled over trying to breathe. And I just remember thinking it was really either really brave or really stupid of Marchie to bowl himself in that last over. And brave it was. It was incredible. And just realising that moment when they'd won, I think I burst into tears, and just seeing like Matto just run straight for the stumps and like make sure that him and Al got a stump was just, it was incredible. I think Marchie as a captain last year really took that team from where it was possible to be great to greatness, and I think Shax has followed suit this year with that group. And I think the testament of that team is just how well they all get along and the support that they give each other, and it was an incredible moment.
Absolutely. And so how has the club impacted your life, both on and off the field?
Oh, massively. Definitely got a lot of grey hairs from the women's, from player availability or unavailability, I should say. It's been enormous. I think when the women's team started in particular, it sort of came at a time in my life where I was feeling a bit kind of lost with what I was doing with myself, and a lot of my friends had sort of started having kids or moved away, and it just sort of brought back a lot of purpose to my life, and it's just been so nice to kind of have that to focus on, and some of the friendships that I've made and relationships that have been formed in that time is, you know, this club is more than a cricket club to Matt and I. It's a family, and it's the people that we see probably more than our family. and so it infiltrates every part of our life, and I think 99% in a good way. So there's definitely stresses that come with when you're in a position of coordination or on the committee, and so I think I think everyone can take a leaf out of the committee's book and do a season and see how hard it actually is, and but I think it's very rewarding when you see a Pride Cup event or like the inclusion program running this morning, and just to know that we're giving back to more than ourselves, to a community. It's not just about premierships and paying players or anything like that here. It's about community and inclusion and a sense of belonging.
Are there any unique traditions or rituals within the club that hold a special meaning to you?
Unfortunately, yes. I'm not a fan of this one, but I partake. If we make the grand final and win, there is a fireball tradition which started with the women's, and it is basically having a sip of fireball and saying what you're grateful for in the team, what you love, what's been your favourite part of the year. It usually ends up in tears. Everyone gets emotional. Everyone's crying and saying how much they love each other, and we were fortunate to introduce that to the men's first 11 last year, and it's a closed change room, so no one's allowed in there to see it. But it's I think it's more about the camaraderie in the team than the fireball itself. Which if we could just get rid of the fireball, that would be great, because it's disgusting stuff. Maybe we can bring in Chardonnay.
Or some Blanc de Blanc, perhaps? Or...
Yeah, some bubbles.
What sets us apart from other clubs? I mean, you've mentioned a few things there already, but for you, what is it?
I think it's just probably how much we all value each other, and how we try to be more than just a team on the park playing cricket. I think we have some really incredible social initiatives with Pride Cup, with the inclusion program. We've sort of spearheaded the Without Fear round that's coming up for NMCA, which talks about mental health and removing that stigma. And I think they're probably the things that I am most proud of. It just gives everybody a sense of purpose and belonging. And I think some of the best feedback I've had is from our LGBT players, who have said that this is the first time that they've felt really safe and welcomed at a club. And I think we can easily take for granted sometimes how great of a culture it is here, because it's not like that at a lot of other places. And I think there's always room for improvement, but I think that what sets us apart is just that we're not afraid to take risks and be the first to do something, to stand up for a cause, to drive a program, to be accepting. And I think we've seen that the success that we've had all around as a club is testament to all of those other initiatives. It's not just about winning and losing at the end of the day. It's about being with your mates, being with your family, and making sure that everyone can play cricket.
Absolutely. And finally, as we celebrate our 100 years of cricket at the Trinners, what do you envisage for the future of the club, and hope the legacy of the club will be for future generations?
Look, I think we've done so much in such a short period of time. I think in the last few years it's hard to kind of know what comes next. I think as long as what we've done really well is just to continue to evolve and adapt as society changes, and as things evolve. I think we've evolved with them, which is probably where some clubs get stuck. I guess I'd really like to see, us going back to, having more women's teams. Like we've only got the one team this year. We've had two previously. I'd like to see us get back to being the powerhouse for women's cricket in the region, outside of, Premier Cricket. And I'd really like to see the men's team go back to back this year. I think that would be incredible for them, and just two-day cricket obviously is going to have to suffer through 2 days now, but through the finals. But I think as long as we continue to always it's almost sort of like we put each other first and cricket is second, and I think as long as we continue to be that great environment for people that is enjoyable for them to spend time here, that's probably what I would hope. And you know, if in 20 years time there's a Carly O'Brien, you know, I don't know what award you'd name after me, the Chardonnay, the best drinker at the club award, sorry Guru, you could probably throw my name on that trophy, but that would be nice.
Well, Carly, thanks for taking the time to share what the Trinners means to you and some meaningful stories, and we appreciate it and appreciate
Thanks.
you.
Go Trinners.